Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome aboard the G8N1, the Tier 4 Japanese 6.3 battle rating heavy bomber. And what a bomber it is! This is probably the most enjoyable Tier 4 engine bomber, also at Tier 4, that you can imagine. Now, leaving the Tier 4 out of the discussion, this plane has, in terms of guns or defensive firepower, something that you can compare to B-17s or even the B-29. And it has always been a ridiculous plane, especially at high altitude. Now in this video, we will have none of the high altitude stuff. It's not very, it's not very spectacular to fly at 8 kilometers and make a video about it. I might do it in a compilation, someday, whatever. But this time, I'm hunting carriers. Now, on this map, there are 4 carriers, and I can take out at least one of them, right? Now, I have a second G8N1 with me, not in the squad, but, in the team. But he doesn't seem to be interested in carrier hunting. To this day, I don't know how much bombs I have to invest on a carrier, but I know that the bomb load is good enough for one of them. Now, coordinating random teammates is nothing, you can rely on. So, after the first jet, I gave up on it. Now, as you can see, the dive speed of this thing is just insane. I just noticed it in this battle that I'm using IIS. It seems to have switched again because normally I don't use IIS. But you can see nearly 600 kilometers an hour IIS. That's pretty fast, isn't it? And there I see a B-24 way above me. I'm diving right into the enemy fleet. Actually, right into where the fighters should be, or I can expect some of them. But I don't see anything. Now the cloud cover helps me a little bit to get away from enemy interceptors. And it gives me a clean run. It gives me a clean run towards the enemy carriers. Now, it's always a problem when you come in with this high speed to actually properly aim with such a heavy bomber, as you have you have a drastic lockup, and it's really you have to practice it to overcome it and not to oversteer, right? So that you say a little bit more, and bam, your aim is off. But I think I've practiced it enough in arcade. Oh my god, here it comes again. He's talking about arcade. Yeah, this plane got its reputation for me from arcade. And a lot of people say, falsely, that arcade is, where all the flight models are mixed up and are one of the same breed. That's totally wrong. When you've played as much arcade as I did, you will know that there are drastic differences. They are as drastic as in realistic, but they don't appear as drastic as in realistic, as you have all versus all match and not nations versus nations. And I took out the carrier, and now I'm going back to my base. After the turn, I still have 500 kilometers an hour in my bank, and I'm not contested so far. Nobody attacks me, so I'm playing around here a little bit with manual engine controls to keep the temperature of the engines out of the red. And the temperature control is very easy on this plane if you use mech. Even if you don't use mech, it's very easy. And this plane, it's not so much, you know, when you look at other four-engine bombers, they're mostly about the bomb load or the defensive, you know, the defensive armament. Now, really, the bomb load on the G8N1 is not comparable at all. It's not even a quarter in terms of tonnage of the Tu-4. In fact, it's just a fifth. Both are four-engine bombers. Both are very good protected. But, you know, it's just a fifth of the Tu-4. 3 800 kilogram bombs. That's the maximum bomb load you can use. Now, there is so much more about this plane to tell. First of all, the camo. You can see this red camo with this smile. Now, this smile with the red eyes is something very unique for me that I just put on German fighter planes or on planes that really deserved it, such as the Sky Raider. Yeah, here it comes again, all the Sky Raider stories. Yeah. But really, the camo, the red camo, is the only camouflage to this day that I actually purchased. I love this plane that much. Going back to the match for a moment, now I try to land and rearm my bomber here on the main island. And you just can see how forgiving the handling of this plane is. It feels so good. Now, in a moment we will see how good this plane can be. But one final note, at high altitude, this plane can be untouchable. The high altitude performance is that brutally good. And also, the power creep this plane has fallen to makes me a little bit sad. And I wish that the bomb load for this bomber gets increased. It really deserves it. It does have the engine performance, and it shouldn't, you know, stick back. So, going into the gunner position, aiming at this Bearcat, I don't make the connecting shot, aiming for the other Bearcat, and he feels the pain. Oh yeah, he feels the pain. And then there is also the Spitfire F incoming. Now, one problem is I press S, but I don't brake. So, and again, the next victim has fallen to my guns. So, I actually try to brake now, but yeah, I'm still way too fast, it seems like. And then I look around, and then this Bearcat pulls up. He pulls up in a very steep climb, and he tries to roll over. Now at this moment, the aim lets me down, and you can see how big the dispersion of the guns is. And then he takes me down. Obviously a cannon cat that fires that long at my bomber just takes me down. But he is my third victim. And this is how fast you can actually change the match. Now, sadly I don't get any repair. And I stayed a little bit in the game and did a little bit of stupid stuff because, you know, why not? So, I look around. Sadly, the gunners are not usable anymore, which makes me a little bit sad. Now, I talked a little bit about a power creep. Now, a power creep is, again, the explanation is when the plane itself doesn't change, but the environment changes. And, the relationship between the plane and the surrounding changes due to new additions. And when we have a look at the B-29 and the Tu-4, we definitely have two additions that, made this plane a little bit less outstanding. Now, the Tu-4 obviously is a case of its own, again. And the B-29 outclasses this plane as well a lot by its bomb load. And also, 50 cals are, in my opinion, in the long term more reliable than the cannons of this plane. They are low velocity, they don't do the alpha damage. And yeah, this Bearcat did a strafing again, and yeah, took out the G8N1, but he gets a repair, and what you will see about happening in a few moments will make you speechless. Now, he obviously wants to gun me down. I think he thought I'd get a repair, but as I said, I didn't. Yeah, then this plane is so long in the game that I actually can remember another power creep. And that was a power creep that, to this day, I cannot understand. Now, the bomb load you give to a bomber is based on, historical facts. But also, if you give the bomber its long range bomb load, which is obviously not that heavy, or the short range bomb load, which can be even an overload. Look at the Year 2 series with their 5 tons. As 2-engine bombers, that's an overkill. I can actually remember when the bomb load of the B-17G and the Do 217 series was raised from 2 to 4 tons. And again, the G8N1 suffered from it. Now this Bearcat, I'm not quite sure what he thought would happen. But he goes into a dogfight against the Kia 84 High. And then he lets him go away, lets him start, and then chooses to go into a head-on. That's one way to lose your plane, right? Yeah, again, we're coming to the end of the match. I really love this plane. I think it's something that you don't fly for, its bomb load or its effectiveness in battle. Well, the effectiveness of bombers in realistic battles is always questionable. But this is really a space rocket. I love the looks of it. I love to troll enemies with it. You can gunboat with it. Especially American pilots have no idea how to deal with you. And you can take them out very often by surprise. Now, it is actually the extreme opposite of the G5N1. And one final note to the Tu-4. To compare it with the entirety of the Japanese bomber line, the Tu-4 carries more bomb load than the entirety of the maximum payload of all the Japanese bombers. Just think about that for a moment. I got 42,000 silver lines and 2,700 research points for 3 player kills and 1 carrier kill. I was first in the team with 3,105 score points. So anyways, that's it for today. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Let me know in the comment section what you think about all the bombers in comparison. Please give this video a like if you did, subscribe if you want to see more, and see you next time in the sky.